So, guys, what made you say yes to being here today?
Can I just talk? I mean, I was writing,
Yeah,
but maybe.
yeah, yeah. Just talk. We would like to hear.
No, no, yeah. So, well, I got an invite through Instagram about this event. I'm not part of this community actually. I was reached out from one of the members of the organization, and the topic was about invisible ceiling. And I think it's a very interesting topic, especially for coaches, because the coaching industry is I saw a statistic the other day, like 73% more coaches, active coaches than 5 years ago.
Mm,
And I think that really says a lot about how everybody, there's so many different types of coaches out there. A lot of people, of course, everybody's certified and certification, of course, is a must. But then, how do you differentiate between all of your professional and how to make a difference between that too? So that was very interesting for me to think about, and maybe that I don't know if that's really the topic today, but that's how I saw it.
yeah, this is a great topic, and it will help us basically to know what coaching is, and how we can maintain as a coaches ourselves as well. Because as coaches, we are tend to get burnout because we are giving too much energy. So this is a really good topic, and it's really close to my heart because I've been through burnout. I've been that looking for perfectionism, and in the end the invisible ceiling that we just, as coaches, we get to notice. And that's where I think we just get burnout. So it's a very good topic and very close to heart.
So
And to tell you all, we have,
For me, Shabin, I think why I am in is I think the topic, the title was interesting to me. How high performers got hit the ceiling, and I am interesting to know. It will be interesting to know how we can break it. So, Samina, I will be looking forward for that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and to tell you all, we've had some amazing, topics, some speaking sessions. We've been doing this since 2000, mid of 2024. We've had some good international and national speakers. So we do this by every end of the month, Friday, the end of the month. So I would like if you are joining for the first time, please do keep joining. And there's a LinkedIn page as well. We keep updating that for the new sessions that we will be having. So it's great to have you all here. Yeah. So okay. So
Right.
so this topic is very close to my heart because I work a lot with executives who are just doing too much. They're high performers, but but at the end they're just burning out. So another question that maybe you can answer in the chat box is at what point does high performance start to feel heavy instead of fulfilling for you guys?
And Sabine, as we move on, I think we'll be weaving in more questions, yeah? So maybe perhaps you'd want to get started
Yeah.
and
So
let's take it in the flow with all the questions there.
yeah, so just, I'll just give you a brief introduction. So I want Samina to take over because she has some really good things to share today. So Samina is, she's, uh, I'm really happy to introduce CTA ICF level one. And so Samina is also a transformational business coach and practitioner and the founder of One House Ways. So some introduce
businesses, and that is what I primarily do. This has shown up very strongly as a need within myself. So, and for the people that I'm in touch with. So all that I'm sharing here today comes, like Umar said, as something that resonates very strongly. Yeah, and a lot of information is available on LinkedIn, so I do not typically want to go there. Yeah, let's get started on the learning journey. During that journey, you will perhaps get to know me better, and I will also get to know you all better. Yeah, so the topic is around saboteurs, and I'm going to start with the first slide. Guys, I'd appreciate if you were all muted and kept it in the chat, all the messages. And Shabeen, I'm sure you will from time to time get back to us around that. Yeah. Towards the end, we'll field more questions. Why high performers secretly sabotage their own success? Let me start with something that might sound a little uncomfortable. Are we ready, guys? Yeah, not all the time. And by the way, if anybody can get on their videos on, it would be great to see you all. Yeah, it's good to engage visually. It's anyways one dimension here. So something uncomfortable that I would share is that some of the most capable, intelligent, high-performing people are also the ones most likely to hold themselves back. Hold themselves back. Yeah, and it's not because they lack discipline or clarity or even ambition. No, it's because at a deeper level, something in them is trying to protect themselves from their own next level. Right? Something in you is trying to protect yourself from your own next level. Now, you might recognize this. You might recognize this in yourself. Yeah, guys, just an excuse. Somebody, Shabeen, would you be handling the admissions, please? If you have the co-hosting. Yeah, thank you. So what you might recognize this in yourselves too, guys. You know what to do. But you're not really doing it. You're close to your next level, but somehow you're not stepping into that role. Yeah, you're performing well at work, but something or the other feels stunk and just not right. I mean, you're not consistent there. Yeah. So it doesn't look like failure. It's not failure. It looks like almost there. Almost there, but not really. Yeah. So let me ask you something just for yourself, and that's a question to you. Yeah. Can we have the next slide, please? What is that one thing you know you need to do to move to your next level that you are currently not doing? One thing you know you need to do to move to your next level that you're currently not doing. And what's stopping you there? Right, I would like to see some answers in the chat box. If take a few seconds, guys, answer. Let us hear from you. Learn new skills. Take the steps. Imposter syndrome. Thank you so much. That's what's stopping you, yeah? My own thoughts. Yes. Very true. All right, Shabeen, I'm going to give it over to you. Let's hear from you.
Yeah. For me, there's so much overwhelming, so much things, so you get distracted. Maybe should I do this? Is this better? And that's what, drains your energy sometimes.
Self-organization, taking out the time to brainstorm, procrastination, Nuria. Yeah, they've got a lot of things coming on the chat. Yeah, Shabeen? Fears. Beautifully bottom line, yeah. Yeah, and so most people overall would answer with something similar, by the way. Yeah, all of you are correct. Things like I need to be more disciplined, more organized, I need better time management, clarity, I need more clarity. But what if that's not actually the problem? Yeah. What if the real reason is that part of you is actually actively resisting that next level. Yeah. Actively resisting that next level. Because here's what I've seen with high performers. Every time you're about to grow, yeah, just become more visible, take on more responsibility, step into something bigger, every time you're on the edge of growth, resistance seems to show up. Yeah, and it's not random, it's very specific. Specifically at the edge of your next level is where it starts to show up. Yeah, let's have the next slide. Yeah, so can you see this picture, all of you? Guys, I can't see all of you. I mean, I'm sharing the screen, so yeah, I mean, nod up, icons, all reactions are also good to see. Here is a person standing on the shore, and what is he facing, or what is she facing? Responsibility, visibility, pressure. Yeah, and all that you see is a resistance to moving ahead. Yeah. Now the mistake most people make is that they try to push through that resistance. They want to swim through it. Yeah. What they do not take into account is, are we strong enough? Are we ready for this? Yeah. And that instead of looking at resistance as a core problem on its own, how about if we understood this? What if resistance is actually trying to protect me? So resistance is not the problem, it's actually protection. Yeah. Can we have the other slide, the before one, please? The swimmer. Sorry guys, there's a bit of a glitch here. Let me go on to the previous slide. Yeah, no. Alright, so the picture that we've shared earlier, right, with this is bringing me on to the next part of my story, by the way. Yeah, this is something I shared with someone I've worked with in order for her to understand her her issues and her systems and her patterns. Yeah, and with that I'm going to be sharing you the story of the almost there executive. Yeah, something that we've seen happening across cultures, across regions, across ethnicities as a common theme. Yeah, so what is the story of the almost there executive? So this is a story about a client, somebody who is a high performer by every external measure, right? Somebody who is a senior role, respected, delivering results consistently. Yet every time she got close to the next big level, the next opportunity, something would happen. A promotion opportunity would come up and she would hesitate. Yeah, a leadership decision needed to be made and she would overthink it. A difficult conversation was to be had and it was delayed just long enough for that moment to pass. So from the outside, it didn't look like failure. It was again an almost there moment. She's almost ready, almost stepping, almost there, but never quite. Yeah, and this pattern kept repeating. So in one of our sessions, instead of asking the usual questions around, what do you need to move to the next level? Yeah, most of us coaches here will understand, or mental health practitioners, common question, what do you need to know? What do you need to do next? I asked her something different and that changed everything. Yeah, I asked her what might staying exactly where you are be giving you right now? Yeah, what might staying where you are be giving you right now? And she said something that changed everything. she paused and thought deeply and said, if I step into that next row, there's no hiding anymore. Hiding. And so suddenly everything started to make more sense. Yeah, it wasn't a performance issue, it wasn't a capability issue, it was simply protection. Because stepping into that next level didn't just mean more success, it was about being more visible, more responsible, more pressure, and more expectations. Yeah, and somewhere deep inside there was a quieter voice. Yeah, something that we really needed to uncover, and that voice was telling her, what if you can't sustain it? And what if you fail? And what if people find out you're really not as good as people think you are? So instead, she just stayed at the edge or just below the edge, not consciously, but definitely very consistently. And as we had more sessions, we uncovered something even deeper. Yeah, she grew up in an environment where stability mattered more than ambition. Yeah, where standing out wasn't always safe, and the unspoken rule somehow had ended up becoming, don't get too far ahead, don't take too many risks. And that is something that I think we'll observe as a pattern for us, for children especially, or younger siblings, or people you're close to. Don't get too big for your boots. Yeah, so part of her wasn't just protecting herself from failure. It was also protecting herself from disloyalty. Yeah, she was staying loyal. Loyal to where she came from, and loyal to that version of herself that had learned how to belong. Learned how to belong. So, we're going to be talking about two things that seem to come up in terms of the protection that we are talking about here. What resistance is based upon is a protection here. Yeah, and next slide, please. Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to. Now, protection comes down to two major aspects. Yeah, it's about hidden payoffs, right? There's some covert advantage you're getting from behaving or staying at the level you are, and there's something called loyalty patterns. Yeah, let's look into hidden payoffs first. The behavior you want to change is often protecting something you're not willing to lose yet. Yeah, how does that sound, guys? You're not willing to lose yet. Yeah, and what is it doing? It is helping you stay safe. Yeah, and here we'll talk about the people-pleasing professional. People-pleasing professional. They're typically the people who are overloaded. They're typically people who can't say no. Yeah, they like harmony. They're avoiding conflict. They simply like to be liked. Yeah, and what's the hidden payoff here? The hidden payoff is if they set boundaries, they risk rejection. So they want to keep on to that acceptance. They're not willing to let go. Yeah. The second reason is it is helping you avoid judgment. And here we talk about the perfectionist leader. A lot of you will realize then that if you introspect, someone who's typically delaying decisions, over-refining their work, yeah, they're the type to avoid criticism. They want to protect their reputation. That's very important to them. And maintain that image of excellence, that people know what they're about, what this work speaks about. Yeah, and what is a hidden payoff here for delaying and being or acting the way you do? If they act faster, they risk being seen as not perfect. Oh, you're not perfect. Which brings us to the third aspect. Yeah, what is it helping you with? It is helping you maintaining control. And here we talk about the overworked founder. A lot of entrepreneurs will be able to relate to that. Yeah. What is an overworking founder about? It's someone who can't scale and is always feeling overwhelmed. Wants to grow big but cannot and blames everyone around them. Yeah, if they the reason they're probably doing it is they want to feel indispensable. They want to keep that control with them. They're also seeking validation through being needed. Yeah. So the hidden payoff is if they delegate, they risk losing their identity and their importance. Yeah. Can we have the next slide, please? The second aspect of protection or that resistance is coming from loyalty patterns. Sorry. You're not just loyal to your goals, you're also loyal to your past, and perhaps more so. Yeah. When you talk about loyalty patterns, first example I could share with you is about someone telling you, typically you're hearing growing up, don't outgrow your roots. Or typically maybe undercharging for the service they're offering. They're characterized by maybe people who are avoiding leadership roles, also afraid to realize their full potential, really not wanting to go there. Yeah, and so them, it's coming from a background of modest means perhaps, where they're encouraged to stay grounded. So the loyalty pattern that you're actually seeing here is about staying small equals to staying connected. If you're staying small, you're staying connected. The second example that is coming up pretty much often is about working harder than everyone. That's also a common pattern you'll notice in people around you, or maybe you yourself. And what is that about? These are typically people who work long hours, they don't rest, and suffer from burnout a lot. They probably grew up seeing parents who worked very hard, and for them there's a certain level of guilt associated with being successful and getting it too easy. The concept of easy money does not sit with them too well. Yeah. What is the loyalty pattern that you're observing here? It's about struggle is equated with worthiness, the sense of self-worth. So struggle is equated with self-worth. The third one is about don't be too visible. Yeah, don't shine too bright. A lot of times, and women here, especially in this part of the world, will resonate with this. Yeah, do not shine too bright. Yeah. This is typically a leader who will struggle board meetings. No, they just don't step up. It really family conditioning, but even social conditioning around modesty. And there's also a certain level of risk associated. So the loyalty pattern that you're identifying here is visibility is equal to risk and or disrespect. Yeah. So with all this pattern that you've seen, the hidden payoffs, the loyalty patterns, yeah, when you talk about resistance, what do you do with it? How does a person deal with the resistance that is going to show up in conversations with people around you, in the people you're mentoring or coaching, or even with yourself? Yeah. So we have a simple tool called the resistance map. Resistance mapping is a simple tool that will help people see the hidden logic behind their decision. There's always a hidden logic. You know, with the reason we talked earlier about there's a part of you that wants to stay at the same level. Yeah, this will surface that reason. And it's a simple 7-step process. Yeah. The first is identify the pattern. Simple questions that you can ask others and yourself is, what are you doing? Sorry guys, it's just bad weather. I apologize. What are you doing or not doing that's keeping you stuck? Doing or not doing that's keeping you stuck. So identify the behavior that comes with this pattern. Yeah. Typical examples would be, answers you'll get would be around, I'm delaying a decision, I'm overthinking something. Yeah, so you're going to tap into that visible layer, the behavior. Next up is identify the trigger. And a question relevant to that would be, when does this behavior show up most strongly? And you'll notice that whenever opportunity increases for the client or for yourself, whenever your visibility is increasing, whenever the stakes are high, the resistance increases whenever you're near that growth. Yeah. The third step would be uncovering the fear. So ask, if you didn't do this behavior, what would you have to face? What would you be facing? Fear of failure, judgment, losing control. So it's not just about the behavior, it's about the emotional layer. Yeah, so you're going a level deeper into that. Next is reveal the hidden payoff. And that's the breakthrough step that I call it. Because revealing this, how is this behavior helping you? A question like that will probably surface something like, I'm avoiding pressure, I want to keep with the approval of others, I'm feeling better when I'm in control. So you reframe it. The whole point of this question was to help your clients understand that what you're identifying as your self-sabotaging techniques or self-sabotaging behavior is actually not just that. It is intelligent self-protection. Intelligent self-protection. Yeah, it is there for a reason. Then you go a layer deeper. Yeah, you talk about identity and the loyalty patterns. So you'll ask, what a part of you is this protecting? What part of you is this protecting? Where might you have learned this pattern? Where and when? Yeah, and clients might respond, you know what, I don't want to fail. I must not fail. Not want to, I must not. All those odds and shoulds that are typically learned from outside, external conversations, externalities, this will show up. I must not fail. I must not outgrow others. I must be in control. So you understand their identity and past conditioning. Yeah. And then you ask, let's evaluate the cost. Yeah. Ask, what is this pattern costing you? And more importantly, what will it cost you if nothing changes in the next 2 years? What will it cost you if nothing changes in the next 2 years? What does this do? It will create momentum for change. When you're linking urgency with change, it creates the right momentum for action to take place. The next and final step is creating a conscious choice. Right? Remember, guys, we're not pushing anyone to action. We're not forcing that. We're just here to create awareness so that ownership can be then created. And that is what is so important here. Yeah. I'm going to share a mini example in the next slide with you for better clarity. Yeah. So a client will say, I keep delaying launching my business publicly. I keep delaying launching my business publicly. Map it. The behavior, avoiding the launch, the trigger. When it's time to go visible, that's when it comes up. What is the fear here? What are we really dealing with? Judgment and criticism? What am I getting out of it? I'm staying safe and avoiding exposure. What's the deeper layer? Learned early. Do not become too visible. Do not shine too much. There's no place for you if you do this or become bigger. Right? What is the cost? The cost is totally internal. I feel stuck. I feel frustrated. I feel stunted. I'm not growing. When the client sees I'm not lazy, I'm only protecting myself, you can then present them with a conscious choice. Protection versus growth. This is essentially the two things that you're being asked to choose from, that your client is asking to be choosing from. Protection versus growth. All right, let's move on. Here's a little bit of an activity that I thought you might enjoy, and we have time for that, thankfully. So, self-mapping. Yeah. Simple questions, not in the 7-layered, but concisely put, that you can work with on yourself or with someone casually in a conversation or with a colleague at work and not just in a coaching situation. Yeah. The first question is, what's something you're avoiding right now? How is avoiding it actually helping you? When does that show up the most? Yeah. With this awareness, if you didn't avoid it, what would you have to face? And with this awareness, what are you now consciously choosing for yourself? Yeah, take some time, guys. Take some time.
Okay.
You can jot down the answers and then share. Anyone wants to speak up right now? Let's work with someone who can and is willing to talk about these. Let's hear from someone, yeah? Please raise your digital hands because I think you've all been muted. Come on, we're going to ask the participants here. I see a lot of familiar faces, some new, some older, yeah. All right. Anyone? Oh, come on. Anyone just volunteer. Yeah. Come on.
Aisha raised her hand. Yes, Aisha.
Or Aisha has raised her hand. Wonderful. Let's
Yes.
hear from Aisha then.
Sorry,
I can't see her
my
strangely.
internet is really sketchy today,
No,
so I
no
hope it
problem.
stays. So, what would you like me to do?
Yeah, just run through this exercise. The first
Hmm.
questions, Aisha, thank you for
Hmm.
joining us and volunteering to be with this self-mapping activity. What's something you're avoiding right now?
I'm I'm avoiding to take the next step in terms of what I want to do professionally, or how I want to grow professionally, let's say, doing things differently.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. And can you say more about that?
Well, I want to go into more workshops and all, and I've been mulling with this idea for a long time, and
Hmm.
haven't really gotten down to working on it.
Hmm. Hmm. So you're procrastinating, you're delaying, you're overthinking your decision maybe? Do I, don't I?
Overthinking, not really taking the time to brainstorm and see exactly how I want to start this, which areas do I want to focus on, things like that.
Yeah. And so this, so this, staying there and deeper thinking, when does this usually show up most?
It usually shows up most when I really need to just sit down and look at options and brainstorm. I don't do it. I have the time, but I don't sort of sit down and then do it at that time.
So this need to brainstorm, is this every time you're having an option or something to do, or does it show up specifically around certain things?
It is showing up specifically in terms of what I want to do. I can
Yeah.
do things for other people and brainstorm and do things, but it is
Yeah.
specifically in this particular area.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
something related to your career and that is important to you, where the risks are high or the stakes are high, it tends to show
Hmm.
up there. You're thinking and going deeper and
It's actually really not about the stakes either, Samina. I really identify with the previous slide in which you looked at the perfectionist and also don't grow too big. I really identify with those two things.
sorry, so you said the perfectionist
And don't grow too big.
don't grow too big. Yeah. So every time
Yeah, yeah.
there's an opportunity for you to grow bigger, this shows up. Yeah, you're
Mm,
going to sit into that brainstorming
absolutely.
mode and it kind of slows things down. All right. So
Yeah.
how is avoiding the decision, and by just brainstorming, how is avoiding what you really need to do helping you?
It keeps me in my comfort zone. I mean, it's like I'm okay in the place where I am right now. So it keeps me there.
Yeah. Keeps you safe.
It keeps
Keeps
me
you
safe.
safe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So people know Aisha Samad to be a therapist and doing very well. And oh, if we had Aisha actually trying to do something else, oh, life is not too okay for her, and she's not really as sad as we thought she is, right? Yeah, sometimes that also
Perhaps.
comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perhaps. Yes.
perhaps. Yeah.
Mm.
And so if you didn't avoid it,
Mm.
what would you be facing?
If I didn't avoid it, I would face maybe coming out of my comfort zone, um, more work, more kind of visibility, things like that. Yeah.
I would be facing visibility. Yeah.
Mm.
And what else? What version of you would you also be facing?
What version of me would I be facing? I think I would I think that a more confident version, perhaps. I think a bit of imposter syndrome and self-doubt comes in there. So a version which does not have that, perhaps.
Somebody who's
Mm.
confident. And if we were to positively reframe, and Aisha, you'd be an expert, I know. So confidence, what else?
Mm. Confident, in control of, not in control, but things like that. Yeah, I'm unable to sort of verbalize it,
Yeah.
but
So
more
confident,
confident.
I believe
Mm.
someone happier, someone more excited, someone more settled.
Perhaps more excited, yes. I feel I am settled, but perhaps somebody who is also, um, you know, yeah, more, I wouldn't say maybe financially settled or, yeah, confident, financially settled, um, giving more to the community, that also, creative,
Creative. Yeah.
yeah.
So I see your face light up when you share all that you just did. We
Mm,
started with confidence, very cognitive, very logical, and then we moved on to something happier, and then excitement, and then suddenly all that
mm,
you're saying is actually showing up in you very strongly.
mm,
Creative,
yeah.
yeah,
I
that's a
think it's the
strong value for you.
creativity of it which makes me very excited. The
Ah,
creativity of things.
creativity, yeah.
Yeah,
And so when you're creative, you're very aligned to your core. I'm
yeah.
understanding that. Yeah.
Mm,
So, this comfort zone that is here, that you're wanting to stay in and avoid leaving, based
mm,
and against this excitement and alignment with your creative self and showing up and living up to your true potential, Aisha, with this awareness, what are you now consciously choosing for yourself?
I am consciously choosing to look at options, Amina, and this year is my year to do it. So I do, and what would I have to face if I didn't avoid it? I'd have to face connection, which I also enjoy, creativity, connection, community. These are the things that I am looking forward to. And so I will consciously choose it for myself.
Wonderful,
Mm.
Aisha. Thank you so much for sharing that aspect of your story and that part of your life with us. Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Mar.
you.
So I would love to have more time and do an actual session, but thank you for that clarity, and I hope it's clear to everyone. So moving on, guys, with what you've seen here, what is the key takeaway? What is that key shift that we're noticing? You don't need to fight resistance. Yeah, you need to understand it. And just pause there for a minute, at least a few seconds. Yeah, you don't need to fight it. And that is essentially what we've been conditioned to do all our lives. Something comes up, push back, fight back. Yeah. So if this resistance, if something is coming here, how about if we just received it? Yeah. Instead of fist closed and bouncing here and there, what happens? Yeah. It comes down, it goes up. It comes down, it goes up. What is really happening? Nothing much. That movement is just chaos, more frustration. So how about if we opened our hands and started receiving? If something comes, we receive. And we seek to understand it. Yeah. Because true transformation does not come with pushing for change. It happens when you're aware, and with that awareness, when you work upon it, it changes to understanding. And with that understanding, you're now in a place to make a conscious choice. Whether you choose to stay where you are or you choose to move on, but it's your choice. It is not a programming. It is not that you're running on autopilot. Yeah, you're aware of what you're doing and why you're doing. Yeah, and once you're clear with that, more often than not, you will eventually move. There will be some change. There will be some action. Yeah. So as we end the session, before we take questions, here's a question for all of us. Yeah. What becomes possible when you stop fighting and start understanding yourself? What becomes possible? So when you stop fighting and start understanding yourself. Yeah. Let's start embracing our life fully. Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop sharing the screen here, guys, the presentation. I'm going to get to the main room here. Wow, that's a fully packed audience we've got here. Thank you guys for showing up and being so active and typing your questions. Shabeen, would you be wanting to
Yeah. So thank you, Samina, for such a wonderful and insightful session. So guys, we are open to your questions. So the last question, can you write it down, Samina? The last question on the slide.
Yeah, can we write it down?
So that
yeah, we can. What becomes possible? Could you type, please? So, okay, we'll just put it in the
Okay,
chat.
I'll just type it. Yeah.
What becomes possible when you stop resisting and start understanding yourself? What becomes possible? Yeah. And we've got some questions here. Umar had a question. How much of our personality, makeup, and background plays a role in our resistance, and how to handle it? Absolutely, Umar. We all come from, nature versus nurture. That's the eternal question, right? And there's ongoing studies. But I tell you this, yeah, anything that limits us and not lets us grow or change does not suit to take as an internalization for us. So no matter what your makeup is, for sure, all humans here have a brain, a thinking, they're sentient thinking beings, and hence wired for change. Change is a natural part of our lives. Yeah, it is. Your makeup might make you more resistance, and that could be a fact. Some people are more stuck into perfectionism. That happens. But as long as you're aware of it, you know where it's coming from, you can then decide how much of it is suiting you and serving you in the given situation that you are now. We're often operating from past. Yeah, remember, the brain does not differentiate between past, present, and future. For them, we're all one. It's all one cabinet. It's not 3 different filing cabinets.
Yeah. And Farhan also said, would same perspective apply to Gen Z, Gen X, Y, Z?
All humans, again, why limit? Why label? Why box? Yeah, they've been raised differently, but then they can also be wired differently. Why not? Yeah.
And Faisal said this is a lot about intrinsic factors. How about external factors creating impact? Sometimes conscious efforts don't help.
Yeah, I need more context there. Faisal is here. Please speak up.
Yeah.
What would you mean by external forces?
Okay, Ji. Hello. How are you?
Yeah, all good.
At
Thank you. Can
times,
you see
at
me,
times,
Faisal?
yeah, I can hear you. Okay, at times there are certain external factors that are creating sort of imbalance while making such conscious choices. That might be like if you are working in a professional setting, that might be your colleagues, your seniors, uh, who create imbalance while you are making a conscious move. So how to balance those things?
So I'm understanding that external thing to be something that uh, is not letting you move forward, right? Other
Yeah,
people's perception about you. I mean,
yeah,
if it's a physical blocker you're talking about, then of course, if it's a promotion and they're, but anything that is a perception coming from outside and how it's impacting you, that is also something you can work upon. And that is what we do in coaching, yeah? Tap into your patterns, tap into your root cause, and not just see the symptoms. Because all of this is just symptoms.
mhm.
I'm not able to do this because of external. That's a symptom.
Right, right.
Yeah. Okay. I think Arshad has a question,
Yes,
Shireen, too.
yes.
How frequently we should,
How
yeah,
frequently we
have
should
self.
have self-awareness or self-mapping to understand personal challenges and the way forward.
I believe that to be a very person to person case. As coaches, I'm sure as trainers here, we tend to sit with self reflection on a very regular basis. Yeah, but anytime something shows up and you see yourself stalling or not moving to the next step, I guess you would be sitting with the self mapping. Why not? Yeah, if something is showing up as a stimulus there to make you ask that question, what am I really avoiding? What am I not doing here? Yeah, or make it a regular practice, maybe once a month. Therapists, coaches, you meet someone regularly once a week. What am I avoiding? What am I not doing? Is there really something I'm really avoiding? Yeah, it could be something largely not in your zone, but you're very consciously avoiding it. Yeah. All right. I think the room is open for others to also speak up. Guys, just speak up. It's
You
not a
can
problem.
raise your hands and speak up. We would like
Yeah,
to
raise your digital
hear more.
hands or just speak up, it's fine. Samreen has a question. The possibility of, no, it's an observation. Thank you for that, Samreen. The possibility of decoding an internal map or way of working which is unique to every human. Oh, is that a question, Samreen? Or is that, what would that be? I'm not too clear. Sorry.
Sameen, can you speak up?
I think she's dropped out. Oh, there she is. Maybe that's the
Yes.
question. Decoding an internal map, the
The
possibility. So we're 8 billion people on the planet, and all of us are unique. Every individual will have their own map. This is a structure. The process of decoding that map is what was shared in those mini 4 questions. And the longer one, if you're a professional, you might want to go through that process. Yeah, so that this is the map is definitely opens up the possibility of decoding your pattern and systems for sure. Yeah, thank
We
you.
have 2 questions from the Fyar Saab and Azumi. The Fyar Saab, you can go for it.
Yeah, thank you. Well done, Samina. It was a insightful session, actually. I have
Thank
2
you.
observations, actually. I don't have a question. One is when you're talking about the loyalty pattern, you talked about people who say, I don't want to be too visible, This reminds me of a long time. The old lady's perceptions was, do not do that. Don't shine too bright. Otherwise, the evil eye will target you. In Urdu we call it nazar na lag jaye. So
Yeah.
that pattern I think still holds for some people. The other observation is that at a certain stage of your life, the definition of the next step also changes. It will not be earning more money or getting more business or
Thank you,
helping other
Bhatia
people
Saab.
and
Your
so on.
experience
But these are
yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes we're banking a certain way.
I also really feel that when you're doing self-analysis, yes, of course, you do it yourself too, but it really helps when you're talking with somebody and having somebody to bounce back. Is that what you're saying or what you're thinking? Sometimes it's not logical. If you bounce it back with somebody who is looking from an external point of view, sometimes you get much more clarity than just thinking about yourself. So I always feel like if you're stuck brainstorming or thinking about yourself, maybe the next step is, okay, finding somebody to talk to, is either your friend or your mentor, or there's always, and a coach always needs a coach too, right? And I think that's often what I hear, yeah, that's just what I thought, and I wanted to share that with everyone.
Thank you, Izumi. It brings me to mind recording studios. Yeah, I mean, why do musicians not just record themselves on their own? Yeah, but they have a recording studio because that's what you need to have in place. Someone to tell you how you're sounding, what you're thinking, what you're doing right or not. Yeah, so definitely having a sounding board really matters. It is very helpful. Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Yeah. Let's see.
Very exciting session. I think, Samina, your talk has generated a lot of interest, and there are lots of questions and observations and comments. I think it is because it is about us, in fact. So that's why, and everyone wants to excel. So of course that's a good interest that you have generated. There's another question here.
I think it's just, I think Izumi's raised a hand. Yeah, go
Yeah,
on,
sorry,
Izumi.
I just had one more question I forgot to, because I was thinking about it and I forgot to ask that. You mentioned about this loyalty pattern, which I also felt a lot. And do you, I've been working in a global company for a very long time, and I felt that that type of feeling or behavior is more, I don't want to generalize, but comes more strongly with Asian people, a specific part of the world that they grew up with, not necessarily their DNA, but like how they're brought up. And do you see that there's a difference in like people who grew up in the Western or US or Europe? I'm right now, I'm Japanese. I live in Germany, but I also lived in US. I grew up in US, so in Singapore. So I've kind of been all over, but I feel that part is somehow unique to how Asian people tend to like be
So,
pulled down on.
I think avoiding risks that are coming with being too visible might be a very Asian concept, but it also runs globally. But definitely, it's a very gender-based thing. Not shining too brightly, not showing up too strongly. It is definitely gender-based. It might be very predominant in Southern America, in the Asian part, but if you talk about the West, I mean, Europe is a big mix of countries. The North has a different psyche. The South has a very different psyche. Same with America. It's made up of different dominations of people, a lot of ethnicities there. So it's really not about the country or the place, although, yes, Asian would be bordering more on that for sure, I would say. Yeah, you'll notice it stronger in this, but I would say it's more gender based.
Okay.
It definitely has come up strongly in terms of gender for me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Aisha, you're linking it all girls convent education. Maybe. Although I would say all girls convent education allows you to shine very brightly because you're not bothered by the presence of the opposite sex at a very young age. you have it all. So I mean, I've heard differently too, but yeah, there's something definitely to ponder about there too. Yeah. I'm going to share my email, guys, in case anyone wants it on the chat. If you want to reach out, you can just email to me. Otherwise, thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, guys, everyone, for this wonderful opportunity to present. And I will give it over to Umar, who has been the organizer behind all these activities that we have. Thank you, Umar, so much for this.
Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. And Shabeen, it was wonderful for you also to carry on the discussion.
Thank you.
And we do it every last Friday, and we encourage all the ICF members to come up and share their perspective. The best thing about this is that these are all perspective, and since we are all humans, we have different perspective. We can agree, we can disagree, we can share our thoughts, and we definitely develop ourselves also on the way. So our next session would also be on the last Friday of April. And we have lined up a speaker for that as well, and we will be announcing it in the groups. So it will be wonderful to have you again with us next month. Shabeen, if you have any closing remarks, you can. And Samina, thank you very much again.
So thank you, Samina, for a wonderful session. And I think most of us as coaches could relate to this topic so much because we've been doing that, we've been high performing, and we have that loyalty. And so thanks for sharing such an amazing topic that is so close to everyone's heart. And, we learned so much from this. So we would like to have you more, Samina, in coming up sessions.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you, Samina. It was wonderful. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
everyone.
Thank you, guys, for showing up and for participating. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Shabeen and Umar. I really do appreciate all your efforts in getting me here and making it possible. Yeah.
So we can get a group pictures if everyone agrees. Because
Yeah, guys, if you have your videos on, we can just take a group picture. That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Great.
And this good picture will be on our LinkedIn page. So you can smile, so that because that is one moment will be captured, in fact. Thank you.
Okay, great. 1, 2, 3, go. Smile.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
See you next
Bye.
week, next month, inshallah. Bye-bye.